All right, guys, we are in business. Can everyone hear me okay? We're live at a little technical difficulty. I needed to get, I guess, Google Chrome. I couldn't do it on Safari. But what's up, guys? It has been a long time since I went live. I went over the summer. Geez, my hair's looking a little rough right now. We got an impending snowstorm coming out here in Richfield, Connecticut. This is the new office. We got a new studio. I don't know if you guys have seen the new videos, but we have a new studio. That's my Generation Hustle poster. Actually, if you DM me on Instagram, Ian_Bick, I can send you the private link to my HBO Max documentary. They took it down when they merged with Discover, but I do got that private link. And if you DM me on Instagram, Ian_Bick, I will send it to you. And I'll get that to you later after this live. But yeah, so this is the studio right here. I got to give you guys a tour one day. I think that'll be pretty cool. Those are the boxing gloves behind me from my first fight. I got these. I'm going to do like a little giveaway. These are the old mic boxes with the old logo. Make sure you guys comment in the chat, and I'll pick someone out to give these to. And I got some cool locked-in hoodies in I got to send out. Otherwise, you can use code LOCKEDIN at checkout to get hoodies. But yeah, so I'm going to be going live every Monday, 7 p.m. to tell a story, a fascinating story. So something I did to grow my TikTok channel was I told all these like little short clips from my time in prison. And I have this huge amount of stories from my time in prison. You know, if you guys watch the podcast, we're always talking about other people's stories. But for these lives every week, I'm going to be telling my crazy stories. And I got some great ones. And we're also going to be doing listener questions throughout the story and at the end of it. So stay tuned for that. But let's jump into it. Tonight's episode, we're getting into the time that I not only escaped federal prison to get a bag, but I lost the bag. I lost a bag of McDonald's. So let's jump into it. This is going to be a funny story. I hope you guys got the popcorn ready, and let's have some entertainment. So when I made it to the camp after the feds put me through diesel therapy, because I was at all these different prisons, and that'll be a story for another time, I ended up at this prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin. Middle of nowhere. It's cow country. It literally smells like cheese when you're driving through it. And this camp is in the middle of kind of in the middle of the woods. It's got a track. It's got like a track surrounded by it. It's got, what has it got? It's got tennis courts. It's got bocce ball courts. It's got volleyball courts with sand in it. It's got the basketball court outside. We have a gym inside. We had a little weight pit that we use cinder blocks to work out with outside. And then guys would be on like the truck crew, and they would drive around the trucks. They would do the plowing and stuff. And there was a medium security prison down the hill next to it. That was the medium security prison, kind of like attached to the camp. And when they went on lockdown, the inmates would have to go down there. The campers would have to go down there and make sandwiches and this and that. So if you know anything about federal prison, you know that camps are notorious for getting contraband smuggled in. They're also notorious for people sneaking out of the camps to go hook up with their wives. Like literally every single person at this camp had left the prison grounds to hook up with their wife, hook up with their girlfriend, bring back bags of McDonald's, of Burger King, of deep dish pizza, sushi, alcohol, cell phones. At the camp, cell phones would sell for only $200 because it was so easily to bring in all this contraband. So literally every weekend we were eating these big spreads. One weekend they brought in, the McDonald's. One weekend deep dish pizza. One weekend we had Mexican. Literally, I walked into a cell one time, and they're not cells. They're 4-man cubbies, probably the size of the room I'm in, with 2 bunk beds and 2 desks with a window. And it was crazy. Like you walk in, they got the lemons, the limes, all these meats tinned. It was a whole spread. So every weekend people would leave and they would go and get this food. And there was only one guard for the 120 inmates that were at this camp. And there was a perimeter truck that drove by, and basically there was this little hole in the woods, like this wooded area. There was this tree that kind of blocked the view of the camera outside, and there was these woods, and inmates would just run through the woods to go get bags or whatever and bring it back, or that's where they would sneak off. So I was tasked one time. My bunkmate said, listen, you got to step up to the plate and you got to go get us this bag. We're going to throw you some money. And you have to do it. You don't have a choice. You got to grab the bag. And they're like, McLovin, you got to take care of this. Cause everyone called me McLovin because I look like McLovin, which is pretty funny. So they're like, yo, McLovin, it's your turn. You got to go get this shit. And listen, to put into perspective, it's cold out. It's Wisconsin. It's in the middle of the winter. It's probably 20 degrees out. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I got like 6-7 months on my sentence. I'm not running out of the prison to do this. I don't want to get involved with this, but I wanted to try to fit in. I wanted to be cool. Everyone was doing it. And I wanted to try the excitement and the thrill of it and see what would happen. And so I bundled up. I put on my hat. There was like a green jacket that the feds give you, which is kind of funny because that it's greens because you blend in so well with the woods. Like when guys would do these runs, they would put on all their green khakis and everything, bundle up to kind of blend in with the surroundings. And so I bundled up. One of the guys handed me a cell phone, a Boost Mobile cell phone, and was like, here you go. Take this. We'll use this as communication, and we'll let you know if the guards are coming or the coast is clear, because one guy would be stationed at the camp out the window looking to see if the perimeter truck was coming or if they called an emergency count or anything like that. They're standing guard for you. If they called an emergency count, you need to get back to the camp as soon as possible. So that way they didn't, raise the alarms that someone was missing. But normally when they called an emergency count, it would take them a little bit of time because they had to get someone from the medium to come up and do the count with them. Anyways, I was given clear instructions of where this bag was. Now, to put it in perspective, I didn't actually leave the prison grounds. I was on the prison grounds, but I was running through the woods to get this bag. And I was told, listen, it's just one bag. And there's McDonald's and there's food and all this, and you're going to get some McDonald's and whatnot too. And I was like, oh, cool. I haven't had McDonald's in a long time. Like, I want to get some fucking McDonald's. And what happens is I get to the meetup spot and I'm calling them. I'm like, dude, no one's here. Like, I'm coming back. And when you're doing this, like, time feels so slow and you're like, your heart's racing and you're like, oh, I'm going to get caught. Like, this isn't good. And I'm just kind of like waiting by the road because you got the prison camp and then you got the woods and that connects to like this main road. And they're like, listen, I keep calling them and I'm like, where are they? Where are your people at? Where are your people at? And then all of a sudden, this car pulls up really fast and they start throwing out, as the car pulls up, they're throwing out huge garbage bags of shit. There's probably like 4 or 5 garbage bags, like duffel, big giant garbage bags. And they throw it all out. They're like, here's everything. And then they drive off. And I'm sitting there in the woods. There's like crickets. It's very quiet. It's a little snowy evening. You can kind of see the snow on the ground. And it's very light. It's just illuminated by the woods. And I call the guys there. And I'm like, dude, I'm one fucking person. How am I supposed to get all these bags back to the camp? They're like, figure it out. Like, get that shit back. We need this. We need this tonight. And I'm like, dude, these guys are going to hurt me if I do not bring them their bags. Because, getting a package dropped off is a very sacred ritual. There's rules that go into it, and you can't screw with anyone's money or anything like that. So I try my best to lug all of these bags through the snow. I'm in these uncomfortable boots that the prison issues, and I'm like trucking my way through the snow. And it's probably like an 8 or 10 minute walk through the woods to get back to the camp. And I'm checking my phone at every second, the contraband phone, checking it. I'm like making sure that the coast is clear, that everything is good. I'm like, what do I do? Just checking, like hoping, praying that they don't do an emergency count. And the worst thing that could happen is if you get a phone call, because then you know something bad happened. And so what happens is, like, I'm about halfway back, and Kevin, yes, you can use a credit card for merch at Locked In. It's at ianbick.com. So anyways, what happens is that I get a phone call. My phone lights up because it's in my hand, and I'm holding these duffel bags, and I drop the bags immediately. And I'm like, fuck. I answer. I'm like, hey, what's up? They're like, we see some movement. There's extra guards coming. The truck is up here. Get back fast. So you have no idea. I drop the bags and I book it right in the middle. Just booked it, left everything there, booked it right back to the camp. I'm trying to pull up my pants because they're a little too big on me. I got the phone in my pocket, and I'm just running as fast as I can. And I'm not athletic at all, but I'm running as fast as I can back to this camp, as fast as I possibly can. I get to the woods line. I'm looking around. Everything looks okay. And I run all the way back in. I toss the phone kind of near a tree. I'll get it the next day. And I make it back into the camp, out of breath. My bunkmate's like, dude, what's up? Are you okay? And I'm like, I got the call that they're doing a count, this and that they're, this and that. And he was like, they're not doing a count. Everything's okay. By this point, it's later on. It's like 8 o'clock by now. It's pitch black, darker than it was before. And I'm like, I'm not going back out there. I can't go back out there tonight. And I told the guys, I'm like, listen, the bags, I know where the bags are. Meanwhile, in my head, I had no idea where those bags were. That was the first time I was ever in these woods. And I was like, I'll get it tomorrow for you guys. It's too hot right now. Guards are moving around, this and that. And the next day comes around, they pull up on me and they're like, McLovin, where's the bag? Like, get the bag. And they have food in it. They didn't want the animals getting to it, anything like that. So, I go out round 2. And the next night, it's like 6 or 7 o'clock when it gets dark after they do count and release for chow. I run out there. I have someone keeping guard, and I'm on the prowl for these bags. And I have no idea where they are. I'm literally lost in these woods on the prison grounds trying to find these bags. And these are big garbage bags, but they kind of like blend in with the woods and the snow and everything. And I'm tracing my footprints back, and I can't find them. There's footprints everywhere from all these other people that are running through the woods every day, and I can't figure it out. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, these guys are going to hurt me. And I keep looking, and I ended up spending like the next 3 days looking for these bags. And I finally stumbled across them. And the food was still good because it was so cold out. When I looked in there, like, the McDonald's was still good. Nothing had spoiled. They had McDonald's. They had phones. They had protein powder was big. They had sneakers, all of this shit. And so I finally get it. I bring it to the woods line. I'm like, listen, guys, your shit's over there. Go get it the rest of the way. Like, I'm not doing this ever again. And that was my mission. To escaping prison and going through the woods. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys for story time this week. If you guys have any questions about the story, let me know. Happy to answer it. And let's chat, let's chill, let's vibe for the next 45 minutes. And each week, I got it mapped out what stories I'm going to be sharing, from, the prison guard trying to come on to me and pretty much assault me in the kitchen, to how I got, my name, my prison nicknames, tattoos in prison, everything like that. We're getting into it. It's going to be really fun, a little bit something different than my normal content. I think you guys are going to find it pretty hilarious. Kevin, what's up, man? Jerry, sorry it sucked balls. I thought it was pretty funny. Everything Bulls, what's good, bro? Manhattan V, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I am from Danbury, Connecticut. I was actually born in New York City, Manhattan. And then we moved into my parents' summer home, where my parents renovated it when me and my brother were born. And now I live in Danbury, Connecticut. Cal Brad, thank you. I appreciate that. We got some exciting stuff in the works. Yeah, shout out to Australia. We have a big Australian listener base, which is pretty cool. I was looking at the analytics for the podcast, And, second to like the US and Canada, Australia is coming in on like the top 5 of listeners, which is really, really cool. And I appreciate it. I get a lot of like Canadian or Australians that follow me on Instagram and reach out and show a lot of love and stuff. So that's really exciting. We do have a bunch of cool episodes coming. We got some murder stories. We got some bikers. We're working on some big mobsters. We got some celebrities that we're talking to. We got some great stuff. So it's going to be cool. Montana Method, thank you so much for that, Superman. I really appreciate the support. Hit me up and we can figure something out. My email is Ian_Bick if we haven't talked already. Yeah, a lot of people at camps get busted for phones and they get sent to the shoe. And when I first got to the camp, people would get busted with a phone and then their points were so low, they would let them back out. So normally you could get popped with the phone twice before they shipped you off. But then when I was leaving, the regime changed, rules were coming down, and, you get popped with that phone, you're going straight to a low. And then when I was at the low, people would, get popped and they'd go to the medium. It sucks. We are going to get into cartel stories. I actually was in touch with the Flores twins, the Flores brothers. One of them, Jay, shout out to Jay in Chicago. And once his deal's up with 50 Cent, we're definitely going to get him on the show. We have some more exciting, cartel stories, gang stories. I know you guys love the gang stories, and I'm open to any suggestions. Like, you guys can always comment. I try to read all the comments as much as possible and respond to you guys. We're at 3 episodes a week now, which is pretty cool. I'm doing all the editing myself now, which is pretty cool. I got the editing going on, and we got the new graphics. We got the new logo. It's really exciting, everything that's coming together. Hey, Kristen. I was in the shoe. I actually, I was a fat boy before. I was like 290 pounds. If you guys want a good laugh tonight, Google Ian Bick, and you can see the old pictures of me with the baby face. I had a big gut. And when I got put in the shoe, and that'll be another story one week. Like I said, every Monday, we're going to be doing these lives and story times. But yeah, I lost, over 100 pounds in the shoe because they only feed you 3 meals a day. I would always skip breakfast because it was normally like a sweet treat. Like I was they had like an in-house bakery there, and there was like a cinnamon bun or just a lot for the morning. And I wasn't really like a sugar guy in the morning. Justin, Big Lance was supposed to come on the show. We paid for his flight and everything, and then he missed the flights, and they haven't rescheduled it. So I know you guys have been asking for him, but the ball's in his court, man. He's gotta pay for the flight, and he's got to come out here. I know you guys drop a lot of other creators on YouTube that I should collab with, and a lot of them, not all of them, but some of them are, they're hard to get in touch with, hard to collaborate with. But I try my best. I'm open to anything. Like, if anyone wants to collaborate with me, just hit me up, hit my line, hit my email, hit me up on Instagram, and I'm open to that. Boosted, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I think the coolest thing about my podcast is these stories could literally happen to anyone. Everyone has shit in their closet. Everyone's done something that they're not proud of, or has made a mistake, or committed some type of crime accidentally or purposely. So, it could really happen to anyone. Lockdown 2023-1. Yes, absolutely. We spoke on Instagram, and he is going to we're gonna figure something out. I think he said something about not being able to fly or didn't want to fly, but if I have to go to him, he's one of the goats on here, so I gotta pay my respects and get out there. Wait, Bill Feezy's in jail? I didn't even know Bill Feezy was in jail. Is that true? I need to know. He was on my show. So you guys, we need to research this right away. Is Bill Feezy actually in jail? Because that sucks, man. I feel bad, but he was on my show. Probation violation for what? Shit. They got my man Feezy, man. Funny actual story about Bill Feezy. My friend picked him up at the airport, And my friend is like this white kid that has never been in trouble before, picks up Bill Feasy, and he's like, yeah, so, you're coming on the podcast. He's like, yeah. And then he's like, what did you do? And Bill Feasy was like, I'm the Craigslist bandit, which is what I titled the episode, that he's the Craigslist bandit. He said how he used to rob people. But that really sucks to hear about Bill, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Jay Rudd, I am actively working on Jessica Kent and Burner. I've been hitting her up for over a year now to get her on the show, and I will continue to do so because she's like one of the OG female YouTubers. So I am on top of that. You guys also see, I don't know if any of you guys go on TikTok, but they're pushing like horizontal videos now on TikTok, which is interesting. So I've been putting a lot of like the long form clips on TikTok in horizontal mode. Diego, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to DC. Absolutely going to be getting some Latinos and ex-gang members. Great ex-gang member one. The Mexican Mafia one was my episode with Chris Arevalos. It was the first one I ever shot at our new studio. Definitely check that out. He did a great job coming on. Sean, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate that. Means a lot. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, it's crazy. We've been doing this podcast for a year. It has grown so much. I never thought I would be doing the edits and we'd be at 3 episodes a week. We started just at 1 episode a week, and there's so many stories. And I don't know if any of you guys know this, but if you do want to come on the show, you can go to my website, ianbick.com, fill out the submission form. I have my brother actively reading all of them, and we're scheduling people to come out. So if you do want to come on the show, do that. Grammy T, thank you. Yes, my episode with Olivia comes out tomorrow. Olivia Rich, she was a former addict. Incredible story, some really funny jail stories and arrests. Check that out. If you are a locked-in member, you get early access to videos. It's $4.99 a month. You get early access to videos, and you also get to get the post-interview conversation interviews, which is cool. We do like a little 5 minutes after each episode where I ask the guests questions about how they felt about coming on, what they'd like to see, this and that in their experience. So those are available to people. JH, the Hooper man, thank you, bro. Shout out to you. Josiah, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Thank you. No freaking ZD now. Wow. Great username, man. Shout out to you, man. None your business. I did interview Matthew Cox. That episode was called How I Became like a Prison Snitch or Informant or something like that, or a con man becomes fraud snitch, prison informant. That was done in November. I think that one came out. If you go on my channel, it's pretty good. These hoodies are available at ianbick.com. Use code LOCKEDIN and you can get 20% or 30% off your order. Definitely do it. The hoodies are really good. They're high quality, guys. I'm not going to sell you some cheap shit. And also the hats are on there. You guys remember the BBE stuff? I got like some BBE merch over there. That's like the OG stuff, which is pretty funny. Yeah, Matthew Cox has a crazy one. Orlando, thank you for the support, man. I'll check out Brian Bruton. I've never heard of him, but I'll check it out. Yeah, I remember we gave out like a huge bunch of free merch, like the Big Bick Energy ones, and Locked In t-shirts. Merch is tough, you know. I would interview Wes Watson, but I heard he's hard to deal with. I heard he's hard to get a hold of. Like, I don't know why some of these guys think that they're better than everyone else. Like, just do someone else's show. Like, if a YouTuber hit me up and said, hey, come on my podcast, and I'll absolutely come on their podcast. It's a community, you know. You don't have to alienate anyone. You don't have to act like you're better than everyone. But, you know, we'll see what happens. If Wes Watson wants to come on the show, then he's more than welcome to. And, you know, we'll get into that conversation. I feel like with my show, we really get into in depth with like the emotional aspects, why people made the decisions that they did, what their next moves were, why they did the things they did, and everything like that. Tevin Smith, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, keep the questions coming. We got about like another half hour on here every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing a prison story time from my prison days. Tonight, we talked about the time that I lost the prison bag, which was pretty funny. I'm also going to be traveling to different states to start interviewing people too. Now that I know how to film and edit everything on my own, and I have the equipment, going to be able to get some more interviews with people that maybe can travel to us out here. And I think that'll open up the doors to a lot of like the prison shot caller stories and gang stuff and everything like that. Boston, shout out to Boston 2%, man. Boston was on our show. His episode came out last week. Gave us an inside scoop about psychiatric hospitals and being a mentally insane patient. Really great episode, really great conversation, really great guy. I got like a whole bunch of books over here that I'm accruing. A lot of the guests that come on the show write books, and everyone graciously gives me books, and they give me shirts, and I got all this stuff here, shirts and merchandise and everything. It's really cool. You guys give me so much love, and I appreciate that a lot. And remember to follow me on Instagram, Ian_Bick. If you guys ever have thoughts or want to get a hold of me directly, you can message me on there, and I try my best to answer you guys right directly on there. What do we got? Kristen, well, welcome to the channel. Yes, I'm trying to get involved with my community. I gotta say though, guys, you guys want to know something? I hit up a politician in Connecticut, and she's a congresswoman on the federal level, and Jahana Hayes is her name. And I reached out to her team, and I said, hey, I have one of the largest platforms in the world for people that have went to prison, and I'd love to get involved. I'd love to help, the community out and start making changes in the system. And, the team kind of seemed a little excited by it and this and that. Then they emailed me like 3 weeks later. They're like, oh, she won't take a meeting with you. And I looked it up. It's election season this year. She's up for election. Fuck that shit, guys. We're going to start holding accountable our elected leaders because that's unacceptable. The fact that she wouldn't take a meeting with me because I'm a felon and because it's election season and they're worried about their image. Meanwhile, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm trying to create change and use my platform for good. Like, I started this platform because the news and everyone else wouldn't give me the time of day. They wouldn't hear my story, hear my side. And there's so many people that come on the show that don't get to share their side of the story. So now we have this platform where people and a normal individual, someone who has no social media presence, nothing, can come on and share their side of the story and reach out to hundreds of thousands of people that see the clips, that listen to the episodes and everything like that. So that pissed me off, and I'm heated up about that. And I promise you, this is going to be the year where I'm going to be getting heavily involved in making some changes in the community and holding these people accountable, because it's crazy. And it's gone on for too long, what they're doing. So we're going to stop that. Anthony, yes to Jelly Roll. We are working on that. Closer than ever. That is my goal. If I had one goal going into this year, it's Jelly Roll. So I think he speaks for all of the people that have battled addiction, went to prison, that come on this channel. It fits. I heard he's a great guy, and I'm really excited to hopefully get to interview him one day. That and Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's team's been great. I've been trying the edibles from Mike Tyson's company, Tyson 2.0. They're actually shaped like an ear. They help me sleep at night. They're great. So they're really good. Hammer Downtime. Yes, I do interview people that don't go to jail. I actually interviewed the iconic actor Chevy Chase, which is pretty funny. But he talked about childhood trauma. I've interviewed people that have battled with addiction, may not have went to prison. And honestly, we're going to be getting into having, maybe there'll be some celebrities or people that have just like overcome trauma in their life, have gone through a tough time and overcome it. Because that's what the show is about. It's not necessarily just about prison or addiction. It's about going to the bottom of the earth and overcoming your situation. That's what it's about. It's for the people that have failed in life, like myself, and who are able to pick themselves back up, because that's inspiring. Anthony, thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for the support. Thank you for donating. And yeah, I'm working on the jelly roll. J. Rudd, absolutely, to Jimmy Galante. That's definitely a plan. Jimmy Galante was actually in the studio a couple of weeks ago with his son, AJ Galante. We produced their Talking Trash podcast. But Jimmy Galante will be great. Great guy, great family. Shout out to AJ and Jimmy. And Diamond Hand Daniel Amesbury. My favorite episode of the podcast, I like the Chevy Chase episode. I thought that was really cool to be sitting with like an icon legend like that. I thought that was awesome. Who else we got? I like the Chris Arevalo story. I thought the one with Chris Webby was great. The one that everyone really liked too was the one where the guy, Chip Williamson, where he had to murder his ex-wife's lover. He just told that story so perfectly. So that was a great one. Yeah, I've heard some things about Big Herc, about getting him on the show. So I got to look into that too. What else we got? It's cool being able to interact with you guys. I miss this. I got lazy and I haven't done this since the summer. So like I said, we're going to be doing this more consistently every Monday, 7 p.m. I have it in my schedule to do this. Going to come up with some cool creative thumbnails, some cool story ideas, and everything like that. Also interested in hearing like what kind of questions you have for people too. What questions should I be asking guests? Are there things we're not talking about? Who else should I interview? You can message me these thoughts to get me directly on Instagram, Ian_Bick, or email me. That's at my website, ianbick.com. I saw someone asked about the HBO Max documentary. That was the banner from the documentary that was made about me. It's not on HBO anymore since they merged with Discover. But exciting news, guys. I am working on a book. I'm writing a book. It's mostly based on my experience in prison. And it gets in a little bit about my childhood and whatnot and the things leading up to prison. But I think that'll open the door to hopefully like a movie or a series or anything like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Probably, I think the goal would be this year for that. Look I got like this collection of water bottles. I feel like every time someone comes here, I'm always getting a gift. So like I just got like this mound of stuff in here. Someone gave me this cool mug. Next week, we actually have a private investigator, a criminal defense private investigator who came on the show. That episode's coming out next week. Thursday night, we have a current correctional officer coming on the show. His name's Ben. Great story. It was like me as an inmate interviewing him as a correctional officer. So we got some inside scoops on that, some funny tales. Sunday's episode, we have a guy that went on the run from the police. So that's going to be a great episode. That's going to be interesting. And then he ended up in Florida State Prison. I know you guys really love the prison stories. So we're going to keep those coming. What else? What other exciting news do we got? Who else is on? We have some cool female perspectives, females that have went to prison that'll be coming on the show, some big TikTokers. And we're just going to keep pushing, keep getting, I definitely want some more cartel stories, definitely want some more like murder stories and whatnot. I think you guys are going to really like the episodes we're dropping later in the week, later in the month, I should say, later in February. Those are going to be really good. I'm sorry, my hair looks very disheveled right now. I was at the gym this morning. I haven't showered yet, and I've just been grinding it out in the office. But yeah, that little box in the corner behind me is what Spotify sent me. It's like a make your own s'mores kit, which is pretty cool. They have like the little flame and flavored marshmallows and everything like that. So that's interesting. If you guys have any other questions for me, let's drop them in the chat. Let's keep answering these things, and keep the night going. The night is still young. Did I miss any over here? Okay. I still can't believe that news about Bill Feasy. Wild. Probation violation. It's very upsetting. Very upsetting. Definitely very upsetting. I don't know. What are you going to do, right? That's life sometimes. Guess we're getting like a lot of snow here in Connecticut tomorrow. We're saying like 5 to 8 inches. Oh, did you guys see the story about how my car got towed a few weeks ago? And I got lucky. The tow company, I guess, like watches my videos and whatnot, and they gave me a freebie. They didn't have me tow it, and I shouted them out and on the podcast and on the TikTok, and it did over like 100,000 views, which was pretty cool that that TikTok pushed it out like that. But that was very nice of them, and I'm going to make sure I don't leave my car on the street tonight. But I'll have to hunker down and stay in, prepare for the snow. I haven't been following the Adam Montgomery trial, but I'll check that out. Oh, what do you guys think about Sam Bankman-Fried too? He's getting sentenced next month. It's an interesting case with Sam Bankman because, I don't know how much time he's actually going to get, because they're saying that they're recovering all the losses, but they could they could still throw the book at him. I don't know how that's going to pan out. They gave Elizabeth Holmes, which I was shocked on, almost 15 years, or it was 15 years. So I'm thinking with him in like the 15 to 20 year range. But dude, that guy got smoked, and he got his bond revoked. What an idiot. I got my bond revoked, but still, and that'll be a good story too when I tell you guys that one in depth. I wonder where JD Delay is. Big Poppy JD. He's been crushing it with the lives. Yeah, Grammy T. I love the name Grammy T. I got my bond revoked for the gambling when I was going out of state to gamble. What else we got, guys? Yes, Larry Lawton is the GOAT. I got to have Larry at our old studio last year. Great guy. He spent a couple days with us, made a lot of content. He did that commissary cook-off show that we used to produce. I do miss the commissary cook-off, guys. But it's just like, it's so repetitive. It's kind of the same thing. And it just wasn't the direction I wanted to take this. Maybe I make like a separate YouTube channel just for the commissary cook-off. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Seeing cops makes me nervous. Yeah, definitely. I got pulled over. I got a speeding ticket last week. I made a TikTok about it. It was pretty funny. So I went out to dinner. This is a funny story. I went out to dinner last week, and like halfway home, it was like a 45 to an hour drive halfway home. I got sick. I got like food poisoning, and I had the runs, man. So I'm like 20 minutes away from the office, the studio that I'm in now, and I like gun it. I start speeding, and then a cop pulls me over, this young cop, and the car probably smells of farts because I'm like passing gas. I'm like, man, I gotta go. And this dude, man, he gave me he was just taking forever. He was asking, like insurance, this, that, normal stuff. Then he was shining the light at like the VIN number in the front, making sure everything matched up, and everything just took forever. And then they write a handwritten ticket. It's 2024. Why are we writing handwritten tickets? So that took longer than normal. It was just like, it was like a half-hour stop. It was way longer than it needed to be. And the whole time I'm just like pacing, bobbing back, like clenching my cheeks to the seat because I had to go to the bathroom. And then I make it back to the studio, use the bathroom, make a TikTok about it. It was pretty funny. So I went to appeal it the other day, and I used ChatGPT to write out a whole reason why I should be found not guilty, or it should be lessened because of my constipation or having to use the bathroom and my stomach ache. So I'll keep you guys posted on what happens with that and if I win that case. But we're fighting for our life out here with this ticket. It was $170, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll reduce it down." And then he's like, "I'm gonna reduce it down." And I look at it, and he didn't reduce shit down. It was still $170, and it was 15 miles over the speed limit. Whatever. Anthony Cruz. Yeah, the dude from Soft White Underbelly would be cool. And it would be cool for me to go on that show. It'd be cool for me to go on Vlad. Grit Father, thank you for that support, man. I appreciate that a lot. So for Baccarat, a lot of people, well, one, I'll check out Black Zach, but for Baccarat or Baccarat, well, however you pronounce it, everyone always makes fun of me. My strategy always was, because I would literally turn $500 into $20,000. One time I got up to $30,000, and everyone says like, bullshit, that's not true. No shot you did that. But it was. And my strategy was like, I always went, I was always well prepared. I had more money with me than the other players that were betting $5 or $10. And I risked big to win big. So when everyone was betting like less than $100 hands, I was betting $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 to $1,000 hands and playing like two machines. And on the second part of that was I would always be patient and wait for the streaks. So I would see a pattern, because this was electronic Baccarat. You see the streaks, there wasn't dealing cards, and it was kind of predictable. So I would wait until it went on a run where it's like player, 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 player. And I would ride the run out. Like if there would sometimes be like 15 or 20 players in a row, and I would do 500, 600, 700 every single time on two machines. And that's how I'd win that much money. And you keep going. And when you're playing the streak, eventually when you do lose, you're only losing one hand. And that's when I would stop and walk away. But I would have already had made my money. And then you have everyone else at the table or playing the machines that are betting against the streak, because they're like, oh, there's no way this is going to be another player. And then it just keeps going and going and going. So that was kind of like my strategy. And there would be times where that strategy did hurt me, and I was the one going against the streak and I would lose. But for the most part, the times I won big, I would always play the streak and just wait for that. Josh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think Jelly Roll would be sick. We're working on it. And we need Gypsy Rose too. We need Gypsy Rose. That would be a cool show too. I'm seeing some of the interviews she does, like some of these podcasters, and I'm not impressed. They're not really asking the best questions. I feel like she would be great on my show. I feel like she would be comfortable with my show and whatnot. Mark, thank you, man. I see your comments on every single one of my videos. I see you supporting the merch. I appreciate you so much, Mark, man. Shout out to Vado, if I said his name right. But yeah, Mark, you are the man, bro. I always see you. You watch every single episode. Hammer Downtime. Yes, Rich Lafieri or whatever. He was just on my show. His episode is coming out in a couple weeks, next week or the week after. He gave me, man, he came prepared. That thing was like almost 4 hours long. So I got my work cut out on the editing, but he gave me a killer interview. We went pretty in depth on a lot of things, and he is, we already recorded it. So you can expect that to come out in the next couple of weeks, the trucker guy. Yeah, Grammy T, I'll definitely tell some of those stories. I think they'll be great. They'll be a fun time. I'm having fun with this, guys. It's a good way to spend Monday night, chatting with everyone. Let's see what else we got. We got like another 15 minutes on here before we'll wrap it up. Promised everyone an hour, so we're going to stick to that every Monday, 7 p.m. And if you didn't catch the first part of this live, make sure you check out the story I told about leaving the prison. It's pretty funny. And I love answering the listener questions. It's a great way to interact with everyone. Sammy the Bull would be cool. If we could pull Sammy the Bull off, I think that would be cool. Yeah, when the live's over, I think you'll be able to listen to the first part. I don't know how all that works, but definitely tune into the first part. But yeah, Sammy the Bull would be awesome. We definitely need to get that. We got Joey Merlino would be a great one. We're working on him. And I'd be excited to do that one. The mob stories everyone loves, they're always great when you can get the mob stories. Yeah, locksmith in if you want to hit me up to come on the show. We could hear a story. Killer Kush, I don't do like joints or anything, but I do edibles. I love edibles. I've been doing the Tyson gummies. They're very good. They're 10 milligrams. Kristen, thank you. I appreciate that. It's wild to think about that literally prison was the thing that would make me successful. The one thing I never wanted to talk about, the one thing I always avoided, the thing that's supposed to be embarrassing, I owned it, and I'm turning it into this really awesome brand and this community. And, it's really cool, these interviews that we're doing, getting to talk to people and everything like that. It's just so exciting. So it really means the world to me. I'm meeting so many people. I'm building relationships. We have a ton of things in the pipeline. And I think it's very different than a lot of the other channels, which is cool. And that's no hate to the other channels. Everyone does their own thing. But yeah. Grip Father, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Chris, what's up, man? Josh, I will definitely check that out. But TC, yeah, to answer your question, I was young. I was in a rush for everything. I would, like a contractor would walk in and say, yeah, I'll paint the whole place. And I had no idea for the nightclub what things would cost. So I went with the first painter was like, I'll paint the thing for $5,000, which is absurd. And I never thought to think, well, I'll call someone else or I'll do this or I'll do that. And people just kept taking advantage over and over and over again. Even like Home Depot charged me $4,000 to install some windows, which was crazy, but they ended up screwing up and I only had to pay half because they installed the wrong windows. But just, I made so many mistakes. I really did. Looking back on it, it annoys the shit out of me, but it made me who I am now. I'm a lot more cautious when it comes to money. I don't take risks on that level anymore. And I'm trying to plan for the future. I'm trying to figure out what's next. And, I'm just not making the same mistakes I did before. Joe, yeah, I would interview after prison show. I don't know really how to get a hold of him. I've reached out to him before. He's another one, another YouTuber that's not really responsive. But I'd love to collab with him. I want to have all the OG prison content creators that came before me. I'd love to have on. There's room for everyone. OJ Simpson would be great. And yeah, these locked in hoodies, guys, go get them. IanBick.com, use code locked in. They really are comfortable, man. I'm not going to sell a crappy product. Killer Kush, I'm glad to hear that you've got over your addiction. And there really is so many relatable stories out there. There truly is. And I think when people listen and tune into the channel, people get to realize, they get to see firsthand that there are people that were in their shoes before, and it makes them feel not alone. And that's so important to know that someone else has walked in your shoes, and you're not an outcast. And you don't know how many people that reach out to me and they're like, I've never been to prison. I've never battled addiction, but your show just, it struck a nerve. It related to me. It inspired me. And that's important. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And we're going to keep doing that. I love inspiration. I was a kid in high school that read all the quotes and even when I was in prison, like I got this here. These are all my prison notes, but I would read books and I would write and I would like highlight the books and I would read the quotes. So like this is all the notes from when I was in solitary. I would just like write about like this is me like outlining the book that I did or that I was planning, and then just everything. It's just crazy to kind of reflect back on. But it's cool that I got to, this is like literally a piece. This is a piece of me from, I spent 6 months nearly in solitary and it's wild to think about. I actually got to start reading this again. I wrote down books I wanted to read, things I wanted to do, just everything like that. Wow. This is a throwback. This really is. Wow. Wow. What do you mean that's enough for today? Get out, Frost. Don't be mean. Kicking me out of my own live. Pretty crazy. But yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up. We got about like 10 minutes left. Shoot any questions or comments you guys have before we wrap. Yeah, Oakley, prison is not the same for everyone. Like, I always say this because people are like, will your content ever get old? Will it ever get repetitive? You could take anyone that went to prison and you ask them a question about prison and what their experience was. Everyone's going to have a different answer because everyone lived that so differently. They had a different moment. They had a different experience. They lived that a lot. Like, my prison experience is way different than someone else's, which is why people are like, oh, he's capping, he's lying, this and that. You don't know what I went through. Like, it was different. I wasn't some big, strong guy. And I think that's why like people like my content because it gives a different perspective. I'm not out here saying, yeah, I will fuck these guys, I'll shank them right there. I do this, I do that. I'm not acting like someone I'm not. I was just, this kid that looked like McLovin and Squints. And, I did what I had to do to survive. I don't play guitar. I always wanted to get into guitar, but I never got into it. Oh, well, it is what it is. Kind of hungry too. I'm thinking some chicken nuggets for tonight. I just ordered an air fryer. I'm very excited about. That'll be good. Yeah, I've always been wanting an air fryer. So see how that turns out. I do play video games. I like Warzone. I'm very stuck on. Growing up, I used to play Halo and GTA, but I'm a Warzone guy. That's probably the only video game I'm ever gonna play for the rest of my life. Me and my cousins like to play it. We played for the first time in a year, like a month ago, so it was good to connect with everyone, be on there. But yeah, Warzone really is a shit. It's real, it's action, and it's just fun. No, not McDonald's. I have like a bag of frozen chicken nuggets that I'll just heat up. GTA was the shit too. I love GTA. Going on like the rampages and putting in like the mods and stuff. That was fun too. Good times. It's always funny to just like sit back and reminisce of how life was like. I got out of prison in January 2019. So what is that? 5 years ago now? What is it? 2024 now? Yeah, 5 years ago. Time flies. I got through supervised release, 3 years of that. I worked at Whole Foods for almost, 4 years. And then I quit, over a year ago. Last year was my first full year on my own working for myself. And I didn't know where things were going to go. And, now it's growing into this. I'm building the studio business too. So we'll see, it's a journey. It's all part of the journey and it's coming together. And I'm excited that everyone's a part of it. I started my YouTube channel. My very first, I was posting shorts in September of 2022. Everyone was like, you got to post YouTube shorts too. So I was simultaneously, when I posted TikToks, I did TikToks, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, Facebook reels. And that was me sitting in my car sharing prison stories. And then that evolved into me getting the idea for the podcast. And last January, 2023, about a year ago, I posted my first ever long form video. And that was with Jesse Crossan. He goes by the name Second Chancer. That was my very first interview. And then my dad was my second guest. But yeah, Jesse was the very first one. And the channel has grown, 215,000 subscribers in a year. Just incredible, guys. Really incredible. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. This was a blast. I will see you guys next Monday, 7 p.m. coming out with you guys with another story. I hope everyone has a great night, and stay safe this week. If you guys are, in the bad weather and stuff tomorrow, stay safe, stay warm. And make sure you guys tune into Locked In. We got an episode coming out with Olivia tomorrow. You guys are going to love that. And Thursday and Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Much love to you guys, and we'll see you next week.